48 Hours returns this season with a closer look at the murder of a recently married woman who moved into a new house with her husband in Orlando, Florida. One day he called 911 to report a shocking discovery, and investigators suspect an extensive home renovation may have played a role in what was uncovered. Here's Erin Moriarty.
In 2015, Dave Trones found the house of his dreams, a gargoyle-adorned home in the upscale Orlando neighborhood of Delaney Park.
The house was beautiful. It was 4,000 square feet. It had a pool, a garage apartment.
Realtor Tara Stevens sold Dave the house for more than $600,000, and it wasn't long before Dave and his new wife, Shanti Cooper, began remodeling in their own way.
Dave just called me on the phone and asked if I'd come by and take a look at the project. He said that they had done some work.
Some work, says local contractor Keith Orey, didn't quite describe what he found.
They had fully disassembled this house to a degree that I'd never seen before. It was rather astonishing. It was largely wide open, like you're inside of a giant shoebox.
This house became more than just a project to David Trones. It was his life. He obsessed on it. This house is the center point to the story and ultimately led to Shanti's demise.
Former prosecutor Ryan Vecchio says the story began when Dave called 911 late in the afternoon on April 24, 2018.
Hello?
And David says that he came home and found Shanti floating in the bathtub.
She's not breathing.
Did that story make sense?
Absolutely not. Shanti was extensively beaten.
When first responders arrived, Shanti Cooper was dead. She was 39. Clearly, Dave Trones, from the very beginning, is a suspect.
Absolutely. Dave was asked to go to the station and voluntarily remain there for hours. And he just started getting confronted and confronted and confronted.
I told you she was murdered. Murdered.
Dave insisted he was innocent, but his attorney, Richard Zaleski, says investigators would not listen.
It seems pretty clear these two detectives, they went into this room, decided that David was a murderer, and then went the extra mile to try to put a file together to prove such.
Did you guys get into an argument? Was she pissed about the house?
No.
Is it possible that without this house, Shanti might still be alive?
I think that's completely true.
My goodness, 48 Hours correspondent Erin Moriarty is joining me now. Erin, anyone who has lived through any sort of renovation, extensive or otherwise, in their home knows that it can push you over the edge. But how on earth do we think that the home renovation will factor into the trial for the prosecution and for the defense?
Well, Anne-Marie, I got to tell you that it is unusual that home renovation could lead to murder, but that is one of the theories. And so it probably will play out at trial. The trial's been delayed because of COVID. But I've got to be honest, this is a true mystery. Dave Trones, the main suspect, is credible. As you saw, he went and talked to the police on his own without a lawyer for off and on for 13 hours. And he never cracked, he never breaks down. But the problem is this idea of a home renovation may just be one theory. When they started investigating Dave Trones, they found out that there was a lot more in his background than anyone had known. He seemed to be living a double life. He had been dishonest about his past and his finances. So the home renovation is one possible theory. There are many others.
Well, we know that Dave and his wife Shanti met online. Do we know anything about the nature of their relationship, the background of their relationship?
I do see this story a bit as a cautionary tale when you meet someone because, you know, he's handsome, he's well-spoken, he comes across really well. I think Shanti really fell for him online, and then he moves to Florida. She doesn't do a lot of investigation. If she did, she'd realize that there were probably real questions about where he had his money. Soon as he moves to Orlando to be with her, he moved from Minneapolis to Orlando, he stops working. And she's paying for all the bills for this renovation. And here's something else. Her name's not even on the deed. So I think that a lot about his background came out in the investigation too late for Shanti, because Shanti died on April 24th.
Oh, that is a whole lot of red flags. What about the house? The images that we saw there, the house is basically completely gutted. Did the renovation ever get completed?
This is so interesting, Anne-Marie. He loved that house, and I could see why he liked it. It's a great neighborhood, Delaney Park. It's a huge home, 4,000 square feet. There are those gargoyles all through it. But he seemed to love it too much, and so he's sitting in jail, and he still owns the house. And the big question is whether he can't get rid of it, because as you can see, it's in terrible shape, or he just can't let go of it. At one point, that house was only being held together by a few inches of stucco. They had done so much renovation and affected the structure. So it's not quite clear, but he still owns that house. He's sitting in jail. His life is over, and he still owns his beloved house.
And once again, another fascinating story, Erin. Really looking forward to it. Thank you so much.
Thanks so much,
these 48
Anne-Marie.
hours, boy. Okay, so Home Renovation Homicide is what it's called. The season premiere of 48 Hours. It airs tomorrow night on CBS at 10 p.m. Eastern, 9 p.m. Central.